Hey Romeo, I thought I would do a video response to your video. Thank you for submitting that. Um, yes, I totally agree that this year you did bring your authentic self. You brought in all your prior knowledge and um, you asked great questions and contributed to the conversations. And so thank you for showing up as your authentic self and to challenge us in many ways with questions and critiques of, the things that we're learning. So I definitely would love for you to continue on that trajectory for the coming semester in terms of our class. In your reflection, you brought up some really great points. I really enjoyed that you were, talking about sort of the mindfulness and equity and sort of how decisions get made. You mentioned some things about UNLV in terms of how they think about perhaps first generation or minoritized students in different ways, and and asking you to sort of like what are those ways, what are the things that specific things that they're doing that aren't mindful but also are mindful. I always feel like we're always in tension, right? Because um I think our institutions, want to be about equity, but they also feel the need to be about all lives matter. And so those two things are definitely in tension. And I think you definitely named that in all the readings and in the books, because you definitely caught that the naming of things is very problematic. And when we don't name anti-blackness, when we don't name settler colonialism, we continue sort of reproduce whiteness in the process of us trying to dismantle or trying to address equity issues. So I also loved your PhD manifesto. I love the fact you brought in your grandmother and your grandmother's story and the environments that really shaped about how you see the world. So thank you for gifting us with that. That was a treat. I also share your sentiments about Paulo Freire. I think I also am heady in terms of I'm a theoretical guru. I love me some theories, and I also feel like I use too many of them in my work. And when we think about some of the things that we think about are you thinking about like structural limitations of what we actually can do and how we can sort of reimagine higher education to be. I think that's sort of exactly how we need to think about higher education, is to dream and understand that those structural limitations are very much rooted in sort of upholding whiteness. But I really enjoy the fact that you always think in ways that helps us to live in reimagined ways. And thinking about the theories that you plan to use, and thinking about where your epistemological lens and ontological lenses will land. I think all of it is really rooted in how you can also reimagine what is out there. When we talk about querying of leadership, querying of the data, I think, what does that mean, as, within your lived experiences. And so, so I really love that you are, trying to get messy with some of this stuff, and not necessarily think about it in very neat and tidy, in the bow kind of ways, but how do we, for lack of a better word, just entangle ourselves in some of the new ways that we need to be thinking about theory, particularly around these structural limitations. And how do we begin to sort of decolonize and deconstruct these ideas that are perceived as sort of concrete limits of that prevents us from practicing and are practicing in very very in different ways and in unimaginable ways. So keep on where you're at. I am really enjoying the contributions that you're making, and looking forward to more of them next semester. I hope that in the next 2 weeks or so, you're able to do something for yourself to get rejuvenated and do something to restore your spirit, body, and soul, as we kind of embark on this unprecedented starting of the academic year under COVID. And so I look forward to your contributions next semester. Look forward to learning along with you. And yes, thanks again for all your contributions this past summer. Looking forward to another year. Take care.